Good evening, Year 10s. Welcome back to this week's lesson. Today we are going to look at solving linear equations. I'm going to run through a few examples, starting from very basic and then going into a little higher or advanced level linear equations. And this is quite important when you come across with any mathematical problem solving. The linear tend to occur quite often. Let's have a look at this one. 2x plus, let's say, 9 is equal to 15. Now we have 2x plus 9. What we want to do is we're going to get rid of the nuisance first, the one that bothers us, the plus 9. You add 9, that becomes 15. What you want to do is then, well, take away 9 and see what it was before. That gives us 2x equals 15 take 9 is a 6. Now we know 2 times a number is a 6. We can just guess the number, but more mathematically, we need to divide both sides by 2 to find the given number. So that becomes 3. So our legendary answer is 3. So that's equation number 1. So we solve that. We're going to come up with another one. We may perhaps come up with fractional answers as well. Let's have a look at one of those. We are going to look at, I'm going to pick a number randomly. So all these problems coming out of my problem bank, which is my brain. Let's make it a little complex as well. 3x plus 1. And then I'll make this one to be 4x. I have a bracket now. As you know, before you go forward without doing anything else, unless you can divide both sides by that multiplier, which is 5, not going to help us because we got 4. If I had a 40, I would have easily, let's say I had 40x, then I would have divided both sides by 5, but not in this case. We're going to expand the brackets. What we're going to do? Expand. When you expand, well, you distribute the number 5, the value outside the bracket, into every single term inside the bracket. We get 5 times 5 times 3x, 15x. 5 times 1, 5 is equal to 4x. Now we are in a little bit of a trouble because we got the pronumeral on left as well as on the right. We have done this one in year 9. What we want to do is we're going to put things together, like terms together. Either you move the 4x to the left or 15x to the right. I would rather move the 15x to the right so that I can keep the constant on the left-hand side, pronumerals on the other side. So you take away 15 from this side, so you take away. That gives us 5 equals 4x take away 15x. Think of integers. 4 minus 15. That gives us negative 11x. Now we know what we have to do. We need to find the x. The multiplier is negative 11. Therefore, you divide both sides by negative 11. My answer becomes x equals negative 5 on 11. I would like to emphasize here, when you in fact write down the answer as a fraction, the best way for you to write answer not like that or not like that, or neither this nor that nor this. That is the best way. So you got a vernacular, the horizontal division line. So none of these, would be the best. The best one would be the one that we just written in the answer. That is my answer. This is my nice wiggly underline. So we go through these two. I'm going to put down two more. Let's have a look at the next one, number 3. In number 3, I'm going to have a simple one first with a fraction. X plus 3 on 5 is equal to, let's say, 6. We have division 5 on the left-hand side. What we want to do is we multiply both sides by 5 to get rid of it. Opposite operations, remember? Opposite operations. And opposite order, that's how you solve the linear equations. Now we get x plus 3 on the left-hand side because these two kill each other. 5 division, multiplying by 5. And right-hand side, 6 times 5, 30. Then you take away 3 from each side to isolate x. That gives us 27. Easy peasy. Scaffold them nicely and you will get through the answer quite easily. Now we try a little trickier one, little advanced one. In this particular case, I'm going to consider, let's say, 3x, well, minus 2 divided by, let's say, 4. And then on the other side, I would go with 2x minus 1 divided by, let's say, 5. This is a little tricky. However, we know what we have to do. I got a division 4 on the left-hand side, hence I have to multiply both sides by 4 to get rid of that 4. And then division on the right-hand side, which is number 5. So you got to multiply both sides by 5. What does that mean? In fact, if I written it, you multiply both sides by 20 to remove these division parts or the numbers in the denominators. But there's an easy way to do this. I will look at what I'm going to write. We cross multiply. So simply thinking of what's going to happen. Let's think what's going to happen. When you multiply both sides by 4 as well as 5, the 4 going to get cancelled, leaving number 5 on the left-hand side on the numerator. And the right-hand side, 5 is going to get cancelled, leaving the number 4 on the numerator. And what we're going to do is, thinking exactly the same way, we had this. Now what we're going to do is, we're going to do cross multiplication. Cross multiply means you multiply the far right denominator into the left numerator and a left denominator into the right numerator. That gives me 5 times 3x minus 2, right hand side 4 times 2x minus 1, which is exactly the same if we did that way, multiplying both sides by 20, the least common multiple of 4 and 5. Now what we have is expanding brackets. We get 15x minus 10, and then we get 8x minus 4. You know what we are doing now? Well, you know what we have to do. 15x, 8x, collect them. 15x minus 8x, and then negative 4 here becomes negative 4 plus 10, because you're gonna throw this negative 10 to the right hand side. Basically adding 10 to both sides as well as taking away 8x. That gives us 7x on the left, 6 on the right, and we yield the answer x is equal to 6 on 7 when you divide both sides by 7, and is my answer for the equation. That's a little tricky one. And there's another one, a little more trickier one. Let's have a look at one of those. Moving forward. Number 5. Let's say x plus 2 on 2. I'm gonna make life easier. Then I'll probably go ahead with 3x minus 1 on, let's say 3. Well, 2's and 3's. And then equals to smaller number just to make our life easier. Otherwise, you can pick any number there, or could be any number in your fraction. Now we have two fractions. We know how to simplify fractions. We got 2 and a 3. Excuse me. We need to find the lowest common multiple, which is 6. Hence, you multiply this by 3 and also that by 3, the numerator, and you must put a bracket. And this one by 2 to make 6. That's one way of doing it. And on the other hand, what you could do is, to get rid of these denominators, you can multiply the whole equation, including the equal sign, the other side, by the least common multiple 6. And that is much faster way. But let's work with what we have now. We have 3 times x plus 2 on 6 minus 2 times 3x minus 1 on 6 is equal to 2. Now you notice we get to a point where we can actually multiply every single term by 6 to get rid of this 6, the denominator. So they cancel, leaving 3 times x plus 2 minus 2 times 3x minus 1 is equal to 12. That's what happens if you did multiply whole equation by 6, both left-hand side and the right-hand side, every single quantity. Now we expand the brackets. Three times x, 3x, 3 times 2, 6, minus 2 times 3x, that gives you 6x. Negative 2 times negative 1 plus 2 is equal to 12. Well, hopefully we get a pretty nice answer. I got 6 plus 2, which is an 8. Now we're going to do this one in the head. Then you take away that to the other side. That gives you minus 8 on the other side. We're going to collate these, put things together. I got 3x minus 6x, negative 3x. Excuse me, negative 3x. And then we have 6 plus 2, and 8 is equal to 12. I was just talking earlier. Take away the 8. That gives us negative 3x is equal to 4. Then we know what we have to do. Divide both sides by negative 3. The answer becomes x equals negative 4 on 3. We will leave the answer like this, even if you've written negative 1 1/3 as a mixed numeral. That doesn't hurt, but I would rather leave the answer like that. Okay, let's copy this and then get started with our set work. I hope you're going well. Well done.